It's 10:30 at night. I'm 30 miles from cell phone reception in the middle of Yellowstone National Park. It's 25 degrees out. I just drove thousands and thousands of miles. There's nobody around. I have no idea where that tire went. Good morning, everyone. This is Vic with Down by the River. And as you can see from the previous clip, I had another incident regarding the downside of hauling heavy with a 1-ton. Now, I had been debating as long as I possibly could on whether or not I should go and upgrade to a 5500. Unfortunately, the finances were just not quite there, so I decided to hold off and upgrade my 1-ton single rear wheel to the best of my abilities and make sure that it would be capable of hauling this entire setup. Well, lo and behold, after a 2,500 mile drive, coming back from Moab, the inevitable happened.
While they clapping for each other and circle jerking themselves, applaud the loss of freedom and cancel those who rebel. And I'm the bad guy because I'm white and not gay, which means that I'm a bigot and discredits what I say. But I'd rather have some toxic masculinity than...
Kidding me. And so started a very, very long day. I don't know how much of that clip I'm going to actually show because the first several minutes was some fairly enthusiastic rhetoric. After about 15 minutes, I calmed down and assessed the situation and tried to flag down some people in hopes of getting any help, but it was pretty slim pickings out there. Sometimes you just gotta take control of the situation by yourself, because nobody else is gonna help you. I've waited around for close to an hour. I've had 2 people drive right past me and then a dozen people in the other direction. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna drive my UTV to go get some help in 25 degrees. It's a little chilly. Come on, Zeta. So I unloaded my UTV and drove about 15 miles south back to this trailhead called Teepee Lake, I believe it's called, in order to get cell phone reception and start the ball rolling as far as calling up a tow truck company. After about 5 minutes at the trailhead, I'm calling up tow truck companies. Nobody can help me. I see a park ranger drive by. So yeah, I ended up catching up to her really quick. Yeah, let's just say I was definitely only doing 55 to catch up to her. She told me that she thought it was really unusual that she saw a UTV out on the road at 11 o'clock at night when it's 15 degrees Fahrenheit out. We ended up going back into reception to try to call up some tow truck companies. After 6 tow truck companies that were all allegedly 24-hour tow truck companies, I had no luck. I was striking out. She decided, well, let's go and take a look at the site and see if we can leave this setup here overnight and then figure it out in the morning. I knew that wasn't going to be an option because of how far I was sticking out into the highway. So I hop in the police cruiser and we go out to the site, and she realizes, yeah, we can't leave this here. We have to deal with this tonight. Fortunately, she was able to find a tow truck company out of Livingston, Montana. They said that they would get to my camper at 3:30 in the morning. And by this time, my day had started the previous day at 6:30 in the morning down in Moab. So I'm pretty out of it at this point. Oh. Having a good time here, everybody. A good time. It is a beautiful night to be hanging out in Yellowstone National Park. It's almost a full moon night. It's my first night back into Montana after spending 2 weeks down in Moab. And this is not the introduction that I was wanting. So, yeah. But now I've kind of calmed down a little bit, and I've accepted my fate until I get that tow bill. The tow truck has to drive 120 miles to me, and then I have to drive 120 miles back to where I'm going to put this and then eventually deal with it. I had an hour and a half left before I was back home. And then the wheel decided to exit the chat room. Fortunately, I didn't crash. Never again. Fool me twice. You can't fool me again. Oh man. This is not the end of the trip that I was hoping for. I've been stuck here in Yellowstone National Park since, well, when did that happen? I think that was about 10. It was about 10 o'clock, and it's 2:30 now. It's been 4.5 hours. We've got another hour to go, 5.5 hours. And then dealing with this is going to take another 2 hours. So 7.5 hours on top of the 10 hours that I was driving. So it's kind of a long day. But there is one positive to it. Woo! The park ranger gave me fireworks. She didn't know I was a pyro. I'm just kidding. I'm not a pyro. I learned that lesson a while ago as a young kid. Don't play with fire. But yeah, she gave me these flares set up so that people that are driving have a little bit more notification that I'm right here on the side of the road. This is my wonderful return to social media. Hi everybody. Vic here down by the river. Having a great time in Yellowstone. I highly recommend you have your wheel fall off in it because there's no reception. Thankfully, I have a side-by-side that I was able to drive 10 miles down the road to go and get help. Because having people help you is, I would say, unreliable at best. I tried to flag down like 4 cars and they just blew right by me. One guy specifically, he actually slowed down to like 10 miles an hour and saw me going like, help, please, for the love of God, pass the message on that I need a tow. He kind of just looked at me and then kept on driving. I'm willing to bet that these people aren't from Montana. Tourist season is getting close, so yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go sit in my truck because it's currently 15 degrees out here right now, as you can see, and I am used to 80 degrees because I just came from Moab and I've been down there for 2 weeks. Well, I managed to find the tire. The tire completely separated from the rim. I'll have to show the rim later. But there's the surprising thing here is that aside from shards there, it doesn't even look like there's any damage to the tire at all. I don't know what happened. I am completely baffled. Yeah, I got the rim loaded up in the trailer in here. Yeah, it looks like, I mean, it's not like last time where the holes were just bored completely through. It almost looks like the rim just totally failed. I don't know. I know that this isn't supposed to look like this, that's for sure. Yeah. Interesting. Hey, it's 3:15 in the morning. What are you doing? Oh, I'm just sitting on the side of the road editing content. Yellowstone, yay! I'm having a good time. Good time. What was that? 10:30? 10:30 that happened, I just saw. 10:36 p.m. It is currently 3:08 a.m. I'm glad I still have a half a tank of fuel left too. I'm really glad that diesels are very efficient at idling because they can only burn about between half and 3/4 of a gallon per hour when it's between low idle and high idle, and it's on high idle now because it's just it's a feature that it does. It's science, mechanicking. I am so freaking tired right now. I would not be able to drive at this point, even if this was like, oh, just a little flat tire, and somehow the flat tire repair took 4.5 hours, 5 hours. I'd have to be really bad at changing a spare tire for a spare tire to replace a spare tire, and it takes 5 hours. On a positive side, I better change perspectives here for dramatic effect. On a positive side, at least I'm not going to be stuck here for a week like I was the last time, but I have a feeling this one's going to cost a lot more. So, this tow truck company was supposed to get to my camper at 3:30 in the morning. He didn't show up until around 4:30 in the morning, and as soon as I saw that wrecker, I knew that it was going to be an expensive bill. This is going to cost so much money. Suffice to say, my day didn't end until I got back to my house at about 6:30 in the morning. I called up a good friend of mine and asked him if he can go and pick up my trailer because they couldn't haul my truck and my trailer at the same time, and then hopped into his truck because I was still so out of it from sleep deprivation that I didn't want to drive. So we ended up going and picking up my trailer and then coming back, and finally my day had ended at about noon. So, given the experiences that I've had over the last several years of full timing with a single rear wheel and constantly being concerned about payload capacity, I decided to go for it.